Not too long ago, Kash Patel made his appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast and spoke about how everyone in the Epstein files needs to be exposed, how this government must reveal the names of everyone there. And now today, as the head of the FBI, he is actively covering up one of the biggest scandals in history, while also using taxpayer dollars to fly FBI private jets around the world, going to hockey games, dousing himself in alcohol, much to the chagrin of the American people. Today I will be exposing this man and debunking every single lie he's told to Congress about the Epstein files. I will also be looking into rumors and conspiracy theories surrounding his girlfriend and the fact that she may or may not be a MOSSAD agent honeypot project inflicted upon him to stop him from releasing the Epstein files in full. I will also be talking about the frenetic damage control that him and his girlfriend are doing to cover all this up. This needs to be spoken about, y'all. And before I get into any of this, because lawsuits are coming in the way of anyone who criticizes his girlfriend, apparently, I need to say this right now. No defamation. I'm reading things that people are saying. I'm reading things and allowing you to come up with your opinion on this. Because I'm objective. I am so neutral. I have the utmost respect for these people. This is a character. This is a Dave Chappelle show. This is a comedy. I'm playing a character, alright? With 2% of the Jeffrey Epstein files being released, a lot of people are mad and outraged. How the heck are there no arrests? What's happening? Why are they actively covering up people? How has the government been exposed this badly? Because don't get it twisted, this government is compromised at every freaking level. And no arrests despite arrests happening in other countries. And it all lands on the shoulders of this dude. No defamation, in my opinion. These are all garbage humans that I'm talking about. They're trash bag humans. But I want to get into this guy a little bit. Let's talk about his origin story. First as a public defender, then to the head of the FBI. Mr. Esper used to be the head of the FBI until he got into major conflict with Trump. How to use the Insurrection Act and a military personnel army to fight off, I think it was George Floyd's rioters. That memo from the Presidential Personnel Office at the time characterized Esper's actions as sins against Trumpism, citing his focus on Russia, his push for diversity and inclusion, and his refusal to use military force against domestic rioters. I'm assuming the George Floyd incident. So this caused a massive clash between them, and it caused Trump to fire him. And enter Kash Patel. Kash Patel first started out as a public defender, then he worked for National Defense and Security. I think he became the head of that department, and then he got moved to the FBI. His claim to fame is looking into the deep state, specifically with regards to Russiagate. How that whole thing was like a big hoax carried out by Clinton's administration, the Democrats, and people involved in the deep state to undermine Trump. And this brought him closer to Trump, obviously, because he was backing Trump and all this. He said, there are dark forces at work here within the government actively trying to undermine Trump, and I need to stop them. I want to expose them because there was a lot of weird things with Russiagate that didn't pan out that I had to look into. Obviously, this would bring him and Trump closer together. And Trump, basically, the documented reason for Trump putting him as the head of the FBI is his unwavering loyalty and his aggressive efforts to challenge the deep state. Kash Patel even authored, I think this is like a book or something, a book called Government Gangsters, about the deep state, about everyone who is involved in trying to undermine Trump and everyone who's secretly controlling the government and the country. So some would say, okay, Kash Patel is a righteous soldier for America, doing his best to stop the undermining of a president. While others say, he's a loyal lapdog who will shill for Trump no matter what. What's the answer here? What could it be? Maybe it started off as him thinking he was actually battling dark forces in the government. But with the Epstein files debacle, it seems like he went from fighting the deep state to actively serving it. Because now it's revealed that not only is Trump implicated with Epstein, he's also implicated with Russia too. In fact, it's revealed in the files that there was some kind of involvement with Russia, including blackmail on Trump. Many of the White House staff, including a Secretary of Commerce, have been implicated, and many of the White House staff, including Pam Bondi, have lied about it. Its friends have been implicated. Many billionaires who have ties have been implicated. A certain country that the US is actively backing and bending over backwards for is also very implicated. But now they've changed their tune on everything. Remember what I told you? Kash Patel, in that JRE podcast and all the interviews he was doing with Pam Bondi, said the Epstein files need to be exposed. Right? The Democrats are hiding it. We need to expose it. Pam Bondi said we have the Epstein files. I have the Epstein files on my desk right now. I'm ready to go. Tune has changed completely because they've said there's nothing to see here. First they said these Epstein files aren't really real. There's nothing here. Then they said, okay, they're real, but there's no credible evidence. Then they said, okay, there may or may not be evidence, but we'll give you a list, but not everyone here is actually implicated, blah, 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 blah. The Goalposts keep shifting every single time. Let's look into these claims and debunk them. Claim number 1. Kash Patel at a hearing said this, right? There is no evidence that Epstein trafficked victims to anyone but himself. That's a very good one. That's a very funny one. That's a nice joke. There's no evidence except for every single goddamn email in the Epstein files, practically. This government thinks its people are It thinks its populace is filled with people who have single-digit IQ. And you know what, to be fair, they're not actually entirely wrong. But I think there's just a lot of bad faith people who still defend this and agree with this claim. People who either support the administration or shill for the other country or are just fucking stupid. This claim can be debunked by the fact that there are literally 10 co-conspirators. This is a fact, stated by the FBI themselves in internal official documents. There are 10 to 14 actually co-conspirators, who most of them are unnamed except for Ghislaine Maxwell. 10 co-conspirators involved. And there are frequent emails referencing the fact that, oh, we're going to bring this kid to you, we're going to bring this girl to you. Not to mention all the food code names. So clearly it isn't just one person getting all these kids and women that are being trafficked. That's a lie. There was trafficking between countries too. What, was Epstein just the sole client for every single country? Are you stupid? Or do you think we are? Claim number 2. I would bring the evidence forward myself if there was. Trust me. Oh yeah, we really trust you. We really believe that to be the case. It's not like you and the DOJ allowed a couple files to be deleted on Trump, in which there were 3 to 4 credible victim testimonies, so credible that the FBI in their own internal docket sheets put Trump as a co-conspirator, simply because not only were there victim testimonies against him, but there was actually an open letter saying that a girl was sold to him for $25,000. And now all that's been removed now, right? I guess there is no credible evidence because you removed it. It's not like you are exposed in an email saying, hey, these are the people that need to be redacted, not just victims. Photographs depicting victims, unknown identified females and males. Okay, fine. Former U.S. presidents, Secretary of State, and other celebrities. Why would you ask for that? They're not victims. You're breaking redaction law under the Epstein Transparency Act. You're not allowed to do that. You cannot redact names just off of the basis of public embarrassment and reputation destruction. You can only redact direct victims, which you didn't even do, by the way. 16 victims were exposed simply because you wanted to intimidate them out of their allegations. What a government. What about the alleged storage areas? Epstein rented storage units in which he would have a bunch of tapes, apparently. He hid secret files, computers, hard drives, and photos from authorities in storage units across the U.S., paying private investigators to remove material from properties. Warrants suggest FBI never searched the units that contain unseen evidence. Y'all never even raided it. There's actually a victim who said, there is a tape of Trump that's so bad, it'll force him to resign from presidency. That's how bad it is. Not a single raid was done. Even when you had warrants, not a single raid was done. I wonder why! And then his third claim, there is no, and I mean this, no evidence implicating Trump at all. Do you think we're blind? I'm going to say this right now. A lot of people are mad at me because I'm attacking their boy Trump, saying you're a crazy left-wing lunatic channel now. No, we keep it a stack over here. I know Clinton's in the files. I've gone off on him too. I'm going off on them more because this is the current government right now in place, in power, covering it up. That's why I'm putting emphasis on this. I know Clinton's been on the files. I know Biden's been named in the files. Nobody wants to mention that too either, for some reason. There's many Democrats that are in the files. This is not a party thing. This is a unilateral, just elite thing. There's no evidence implicating Trump. It's not like he's been mentioned in the files a million times, but okay, fine. A lot of that is uncorroborated. Anonymous tips, we understand. There are 3 to 4, like I said, credible victim allegations, so credible that the FBI put in their internal docket sheets that Trump is a co-conspirator. That's how incriminating that stuff was. The FBI observed and said there are flight logs that indicate Trump went to the island far more than was ever discussed and told to the public. He lied about it. There's a paper trail leading to Mar-a-Lago that suggests Epstein was never kicked out of Mar-a-Lago like Trump claimed. Trump was confirmed to send a weird, creepy birthday note to Epstein as well. And there's also potential footage of him in these storage units around the U.S., and there's no evidence implicating him? Are you dumb? Clearly, something is going on. If this was any other politician, if this was an enemy of theirs, they would be hopping on this like this. There's evidence. They just don't want to look at it. In fact, they want to cover it up. And then the other claim, there's a 100% chance that Epstein offed himself. I can't say the real word because I'll get demonetized. There's a 100% chance that Epstein offed himself. Really? We know that ain't true. Why was there 2 minutes cut from the prison footage sent by the FBI, released by the FBI? Why was there 2 minutes cut? What was in that 2 minutes? Okay. Maybe someone was taking a piss or something and they just wanted to cut it out. Maybe someone was farting in the building and they wanted to cut it out because they didn't want the audio to be involved. Maybe. Let me be charitable. Why is there an email sent by the Assistant United States Attorney to the Eastern District of New York saying they're investigating the murder of Jeffrey Epstein? They use that word specifically. Terminology is very important here in these kinds of emails when lawyers speak is involved. Why are there emails citing the fact that they used a decoy body to avoid the media? A decoy body of Epstein. Potentially to hide the fact that whatever damage was inflicted on that body does not match the official reports that he offed himself. But no. Apparently, there's a 100% chance, because Kash Patel does not understand how probability works. There's a 100% chance that Epstein offed himself. Okay, you have a bad poker face, my friend, for someone who's supposed to be the head of an entire department. Now let's talk about his girlfriend, Alexis Williams, a country singer, songwriter, and a political pundit online. Pretty girl, huh? Pretty girl. Well, there is a theory about her being a Mossad spy, actively influencing Kash Patel to hide the Epstein files. Online theory suggests Wilkins was a foreign agent designed to entrap Patel, which she called widespread character assassination. She's filed lawsuits, which is why I'm being very careful here and saying I don't know or believe necessarily that she is a Mossad spy, okay? No defamation in this video, don't sue me! But she calls this basement-grade conspiracy theories, and she's filed $5 million lawsuits against a one conservative podcaster that claimed this. Now, people claim she's a honeypot for the Epstein files, meant to entrap Kash Patel. Why? Well, let's break this down. Kash Patel met his girlfriend, country singer, in October 2022. So long before this Epstein file debacle release. Granted, they've had the Epstein files for a while, but still. So this is 2022, okay? Trump wasn't in government right now, so what can we say? The couple reportedly began dating in January 2023. Wilkins has supported Patel, including attending his Senate confirmation hearings, and she's never been to Israel. The main two things that people use to cite her as a Mossad agent are her connections within PragerU and the age gap between her and Kash Patel. Let's talk about PragerU. So she has supported and done commentary and worked for PragerU. PragerU is owned by a woman who is apparently in the IDF, who had spent a long time in Israel. So because of this connection and the fact that these two are, friends, co-workers, whatever, people claim, okay, she may be a Mossad spy or just very heavily influenced by people from that country. And it's her relationship with Kash Patel happens to be a convenient way for her to gain intel and push him to do certain things. So maybe that's a reason to believe she's a Mossad agent. Now, I don't buy that necessarily as like hardcore bombshell evidence. There's not much there tethering them to the fact that she's a Mossad agent. Like, Israeli influence in general is one thing. That I can believe, but being an agent, a spy, is a different level of allegation. Then we have the fact that Kash Patel has talked about her in just weird ways, saying she's a true patriot. She's done more for Americans and America than most people in this country have done in 10 lifetimes. What exactly has she done? Okay, well, whatever. She's a musician, I guess. She's done a lot for the country. Then we have the age gap. How could a girl who looks like this and is this young, I think there's like a 19 age difference between them. When you look at them together, it doesn't make sense that they would be together. Why would she be with him unless there was a reason? Maybe there's a mutually beneficial reason. Maybe he helps her get clout. He provides her security at her events, her music events, and she can say, "Oh, I'm in a relationship with the head of the FBI. You can't mess with me," Maybe she's actively influencing him as a honey trap. Now they're going out of their way to, in the media, do damage control, saying, hey, everyone's wrong about my wife, my girlfriend. She's not an agent. She's not a Mossad agent at all. They're actively saying the media needs to stay out of our private life, while going publicly on every interview and podcast. I swear the girlfriend's been on multiple interviews now talking about how all the allegations against her are sick and disgusting, and they just want to dehumanize her and Kash Patel because Kash Patel is hated because everyone is either jealous of him or hates the Epstein file stuff. So they're actively making their life into a reality show. I do think, honestly, that they're milking it just to help her career, personally. Here's my conclusion on whether or not she's a Mossad spy. I don't think that's even relevant. You know why? Because there's not sufficient evidence in my eyes that she is. I don't think she needs to be. Do you understand what we're dealing with in terms of the country that she's allegedly working for in terms of this conspiracy theory? You know this guy has America by the balls. Trump will do anything he wants. Go to war with Iran for me and let us rule the Middle East. You know, they're going to allow it. Look how much he was given a freaking key to the White House literally 2 days ago, didn't he? Like, guys, you don't need Kash Patel's girlfriend to be a spy. This dude, this country, we know Epstein was Mossad. We know that. He got so much blackmail on all the world leaders. He was the only spy they needed. Ehud Barak. And then people say, oh, but that was for Ehud Barak and all. Bro, Netanyahu's in the Epstein files. Meetings are booked with him between him and Epstein. Are you kidding me? You know how you know that Epstein was their greatest agent? Because now all world media, including New York Times and a bunch of these different news reports, they're saying, oh, Epstein was a Russia spy, we think. Even though all evidence literally points to him being a spy for another country. He's got the world by the balls. He's got the media, the government by the balls. Think about every single person in this administration. Look how hard they shill and defend Israel. He's got America by the balls. Now we got Kash Patel, who's under fire for using the jet, which is funded by taxpayer dollars, by the way, to go to her concerts, to attend hockey games and all this stuff. He's even apparently had SWAT teams drive her and her drunk friends around here and there and be their own personal security. Like, guys, this is a joke. He went from, oh, I'm going to do things for America. I'm going to fight the deep state too. Oh, I'm going to cover up the Epstein files. And while the biggest scandal of our lives is happening right now, I'm going to go use taxpayers' money to fly my girl out and go watch her concerts and go to hockey games. Do you not understand the sham, the scam that this is? Look at this. The biggest scandal of all time is happening right now, and he's out doing this. And now he's on podcast saying, guys, playing the victim. It's been hard handling these files. People don't understand. The public doesn't understand all these accusations against me. In other words, it's been hard to tell the truth to the public. Because I can't. We know why I can't. Now, for people saying, okay, there are still people who defend Kash Patel and say, it makes sense why the FBI is handling the Epstein files the way they are. The three main reasons are there are ongoing trials that could be messed with if they release too much evidence. They've released enough files for this to be rendered mute. Plus, Ghislaine Maxwell was the only prominent trial that this was a problem for. That's why a gag order was put on the case. And even now, she's in hearings saying, I'll reveal everything if Trump grants me clemency. So that point is gone out the window. Oh, they're trying to protect victims. Wrong! Because they didn't only redact victims, did they? And there was a whole sheet filled with victim names that they, I guess, forgot to unredact for the sake of intimidating them. And then, we don't want to falsely incriminate famous people by mentioning their names in the files, which could be taken out of context. Brother, if you are worried about context, release all the files in full context then. Don't do this thing where you're releasing partially redacted files that can be unredacted by people because the DOJ is dumb, and make these people look even more sus. I can reverse that argument onto you and say, by handling it the way they have made celebrities who may be innocent look even worse. All these criticisms are stupid. They're stupid. This is inexcusable, guys. This is inexcusable. Plainly. Kash Patel needs to resign. I do think, in my opinion, if all of this ends up being true, no defamation, I'm just saying in a hypothetical, if this does end up being true, this guy needs to be arrested too. Because he's lied under oath and he's committed perjury and obstruction of justice. Simple. Alright, but time for an announcement, guys. In the wake of all this, and I've mentioned this a few times in my videos, I am starting a secret society of vigilantes. As cringe as it sounds, and I know me saying it here on a public platform doesn't make a secret anymore, but please. Many hundreds of people have emailed me. I'm going to send a reply to everybody. There's going to be a vetting process. Then we're going to take it off to a different platform when we actually formulate everything. If you don't have any of these skills, that's fine. You're welcome to join, but we are looking for people who have connections in law enforcement, or maybe are part of it, because we want to operate within the law, who have legal expertise. Maybe they're a lawyer, maybe you're studying law, maybe you know lawyers, that kind of thing. Cybersecurity, we definitely need people who are good with that. Journalism, social media growth, And anyone who has knowledge of finance, accounting, crypto, all this stuff, like if you just have knowledge about the way money works and flows and all this stuff, that'd be great too. We need these kinds of people. Join us. I want to make a difference in the world. I'm sick of living in a world where there's a change that's needed in the system and it's just never happening because there are people in power who won't allow it to happen and will allow degenerates like this to get away. I don't like the idea that there's a group of people who can do literally everything they want. Molest, eat, destroy, kill children. We are living in this world where if we get a ticket or we don't pay our taxes on time or we do one little thing, it's over. I don't like that world. That's not a fair reality. Let's even the playing field, all right? Email me. My email will be in the bio, my YouTube bio, if you're interested. All right? That's that. Bye.